Bulb Club presents. How Cuba is different from other countries. World knows that Cuba is a beautiful country, but there are a lot of secrets which is hidden inside Cuba. Cuba is not a country with just one island, but its group of close to 4,000 islands. When you look from sky-hole, Cuba will be in a crocodile shape, and its main city and capital is Havana. Remember this mainly while traveling to Cuba. You should not sneeze or cough in public places in Cuba, as it's a public offense, and you may be imprisoned for the same. They have these strong rules so as not to spread diseases. There are only two countries where Coca-Cola is not available, one is North Korea, and the other one is Cuba. They say illegally in some tourist places you might get Coca-Cola. Next one is quite interesting, as you won't believe that even in this modern world, Cuban people love to use vintage cars which was used in US around 1940s to 1970s. Not all people can buy those vintage cars, only if you are a Cuban citizen or a Cuban citizen living outside the Cuba can buy those cars. Among the countries in the world, Cuba's literacy rate is one among the highest with 99.7%. In 1959, Cuba's literacy rate was around 60 to 70%. When Fidel Castro became president, he made sure all the students from 6 to 15 years must compulsory undergo schooling, if not severe punishment will be imposed for the parents. And that's why the literacy rate is 99.7%. Cuba's crocodile is called as flying crocodile. Now, don't think that it will have wings. Cuban people feed the crocodile by tying its food in a branch, so the crocodile will lift its body above the average height from the water to get the food. This becomes as a usual practice from small age, and that's why crocodile in Cuba is called as flying crocodile. Cuba is the world's last communist country, as it was the last country to change to communist country, and none has done post that. Also, Cuba will always remain as a communist country, as the benefit derived from being communist country is more. In the world, Cuba is the only country where medicines and schools are given for free. It is still owned by government and not given to private sectors for business. Cuba has around 70,000 doctors. Surprised? Yes, you heard it right. More qualified doctors are there from a small country. Cuba's doctors are more in number than the whole African continent. The whole African continent has only around 50,000 doctors. But don't think that Cuban people are very selfish. They will send their doctors for free to treat or help other countries during virus and medical emergencies. Remember when all the countries denied entry for COVID-19 affected cruise ships? Cuba's welcome to a COVID-19 stricken cruise ship reflects a long pattern of global humanitarian commitment. Before 2008, Cuban people were not allowed to use mobile phones nor personal laptops. Only from the 2008, they lifted this ban, and even after lifting the ban, Cuban people were not able to buy personal laptops as they felt the rates are high for them. All basic essentials will be charged at minimal, and the cost of living is less in Cuba. You must have studied in books that Cuba is the sugar platter in the world. Cuba produces the highest sugarcane in the world, leading in sugar exporter. The world's smallest hummingbird is in Cuba, and its size is just 5 centimeters. All countries have one currency, but in Cuba, they have two currencies. CUP equals Cuban pesos, CUC equals Cuban convertible pesos, CUP currency is used by Cuban local people, and CUC convertible is used by tourists. Also, when you convert US dollar to Cuban currency, a 10% tax is applicable. This rule is only for US dollar and not for any other currency. World's biggest coastline is in Cuba, which is around 5,700 kilometers, 3,570 miles. Cuba has tracked records for the world's safest country, mainly for tourists. A girl can happily walk around at midnight, as there is no such violent crimes in Cuba. Not only hospitals and schools. Radio stations, newspapers, television programs are all run by government, so people will read what the government tells. Until 2013, Cuba did not allow any series to be telecasted. First time in 2013, they telecasted a South Korean series called Queen of Housewives, which became a big hit. That's why Cuban people have so much craze for Korean drama. Cuba exports the world's best quality cigars, and there is whole lot of craze for it. Public transport is suggested to be the best use in Cuba. I am sure you must have learned a lot of things about Cuba now. If you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.